of using the family fortune for public good. During the Bengal famine, he almost took over the government's role in setting up thousands of free kitchens.
There are now many Marwari business families. The third richest Indian in the world is a Marwari, Lakshmi Mittal. But the legacy of the Birla family remains intact clearly because in this community, if there's one family that continues to be regarded as almost royalty, it's the Birla family.
Today, more than 40,000 children in Calcutta study in Birla schools, and his granddaughter-in-law Rajshri continues the good work.
Well, my mother actually spearheads the entire social development and rural work that we do around the plant sites where we operate from. And I think that they do some very significant but very low-key work that addresses the real problems of people in those areas. It could be, providing them with drinking water. It could be self-employment in various forms. It could be widow remarriage.
When I was 30 years old, we had built an orphanage. So that was my first venture.
What did the orphanage do? Does it still exist?
Recently we celebrated its silver jubilee. And when we had started it 20 years back, 25 years back, it was like any other orphanage. We took children between the age of 3 and say 12. That was the first batch. Then slowly we realized that that was not the need because there were many more orphanages in Maharashtra. So we had to change our policy, and now we take children between 16 and 17 and then give them vocational training. And if anyone is especially interested in studies, he goes to the night school. Widow remarriage is one of the things, and this was done near Hindalco. There we had about 300 widows who were married in a mass marriage. First of all, we had to convince their parents, their in-laws, that they should be remarried. That itself was a big thing, but somehow many people agreed, and we had a mass marriage. It was a dowryless marriage, and it was a very satisfying event.
And did your husband encourage you in all these activities, or did you yourself feel that you needed to do them?
No, he encouraged me, because for the orphanage he went to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra and spoke to him, and so we got an acre of land in Chembur. So he was very encouraging. We are putting up an hospital near Pune, so that's a very good project. And we'll be making an auditorium in Bombay in memory of my husband, so that will be another good project.
After Gandhiji's death, GD and the Birla family withdrew from public life. Jawaharlal Nehru's India was not a place where businessmen could be political figures or public heroes. GD's own differences with Nehru began when he demanded that Birla House be handed over to the nation as a memorial to Gandhiji. GD wrote him a letter expressing his pain. The family's fortunes were revived by GD's grandson Aditya, who inherited, somewhat controversially, the bulk of GD's fortune.
he was a multi-talented person. Like whatever he did, he somehow excelled in that. Like even in sports or like business was already, he was doing very well in business. But like even anything like sports or cooking or painting or flying a plane, he would always excel in it.
He died of cancer in 1995. Vastly expanded the empire overseas because the climate for business in India remained unfriendly through most of his life.
I spent all my early years of my working life with him. I was an apprentice with him. I spent many hours every day for several years with him. So I clearly am most influenced by his style of management and his way of thinking in terms of business. You know, he was full of enthusiasm, full of lots of ideas about things he wanted to do, all of which got stifled because of the fact that there were no licenses available then, which is why he turned towards Southeast Asia. And he used to tell me that was a real blessing in disguise, because going to Southeast Asia meant that he had to do it himself. He didn't have his father or his grandfather to sort of look after him on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis, although they were always there for him. And he said that there was a great growing up experience for him as a business leader.
Aditya Birla's only son, Kumaramangalam, is now the custodian of the family legacy.
It was intimidating, but I think the fact was that there was so much to be done. I had this, like I keep saying, I had this junoon where I wanted that everything that he had started and wanted to take to, new altitudes must carry on. And I had this sort of burning desire to immortalize his name, if one can do that.
What were the big difficulties that you faced?
Well, I think the greatest challenge was that all the people I worked with were at least twice my age, if not more. It's always difficult to connect with people who are that much older. It's a little bit like, a class 5 student who's suddenly asked to become head boy of the school one fine morning. I mean, he's going to have his share of problems, keeping people together and keeping them focused on what the organization is striving to do.
In today's more business-friendly environment, he believes there is still much to be done.
I think that if you're competing, especially in commodity businesses like ours, with people from all around the globe who don't have the kind of constraints on infrastructure, whether it's power, whether it's ports, roads, like we do here, it is a tough competition. It is tough for us to, it is like batting with one hand tied behind your back. So I think that providing world-class infrastructure is, to my mind, the most important thing that the government must focus on.
Do we see movement, or is it mostly in the media?
I think, to be fair, there has been movement on the front of roads, with the Golden Quadrilateral and the north, south, east, west corridors. But I think that there's lots to be done in power, for example. One is now seeing some action on the privatization of airports, which I think is a very positive thing. In 5 years' time, I think that the group will be much more international than it is today. About 30% of our turnover today comes from our international operations. I see that number at around 40% on a much larger base. And I think that we will be, in several of the industries that we are in as a conglomerate, we will be ranked in the world either number 1 or 2 or 3. So the dream really is to take India to the world as a team.
They are doing wonderful, and especially my grandson. Oh, I'm very, very proud of him. He's doing wonderful. And Aditya also did very much, but he has surpassed his father.